Hello, my little TeaPods, and welcome back. Ding, 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 ding. To episode 4, Nature versus Nurture, bro. It's physiological response to environmental elements. What? Alright, first things first, disclaimer is the views and opinions expressed in this episode are entirely my own, informed by both lived experience and professional training. I'm a certified neuroscience, positive psychology, and cognitive behavioral therapy coach, but this content is for informational and storytelling or educational purposes only. It is not intended to diagnose, treat, or replace professional care. Listener discretion is advised. Now, as we also know, comfort. All right, so I'm so excited. It was my husband's birthday this week, and I got him the You Matter um, hoodie and sweatpants for his birthday. And when I tell you, opening up that package, seeing like the positivity on it and the way that it just encourages you to have self-care. I appreciate that even whenever I'm not there to remind him how much that I love him, that he can look down and see how much that he matters to me. So if you want to go ahead and redefine cozy with their signature hoodies or an elevated loungewear, because listen, y'all, my little teapot. If you're ready to upgrade your style and comfort game, you can use my link. It's linked in my bio on YouTube, Instagram, and Patreon. But you can also just go to comfrt.com / wait, no, I think it's backwards. Anyway, / the Southern Teapot. Alrighty, now let's get into the episode. Nature versus nurture, bro. It's a fresh take. It's the real tea. It's it's not. This is not a battle. It's a dance. And the genes they kind of like set the stage, but the environment it sets off the choreography. So when you're hearing that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, two, you can dance, but the nurturing of things, can you dance, bro? Some of us really can't. But we're all capable of it, right? So the easiest way to break down nature versus nurture is just a framework around it, right? Nature is the biological inheritance, genetic predispositions, and neurophysiology. Nurture is environmental influences, lived experiences, relationships, or trauma exposure. Now, what that means is my body and who I am has my genetic coding and the hormones and all of my complexities, but genes are the blueprint essentially, and life is the contractor that kind of like puts it into its work. So the environment around us, stressors, can elevate certain hormones or chemicals in our body that wouldn't naturally be there if we weren't in the environments that we're in or subjected to certain experiences that we might experience. I want to introduce a couple of things that can be environmentally triggered, such as PTSD. PTSD is something that is triggered from a traumatic experience. So PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. The risk scores. So when it comes to male versus female, females are more susceptible to PTSD than males. And that's really something that, again, professionals debate on a regular basis. The science behind it is relatively backed in the nature side of things, that within the genetic female's body, the hormonal balances, all of the things that you might look at within them may very well be a higher risk factor due to the way that stress would interact with their body. Whereas a male body may not be as susceptible to PTSD due to the hormones and imbalances within their body naturally. Um, that is a simple genetic fact. Period. Now, attachment styles as environment moderators. So when we talk about attachment styles, PTSD is biologically possible for all, but not universally expressed. As well, when we look at how the trauma exposure, plus like an insecure attachment style, for example, can really trigger that spiral and activation of hormones and thought process, if you will. Process. Secure attachment style can buffer genetic risk to PTSD, um, in contrast. And now that comes from the neuroscience news. Another aspect of things that we can look at is depression and anxiety. So you can have a long line of family members who are predispositioned to depression or anxiety, and then have the one person who does all of the preventative measures and has the awareness of that from potential, they may have a caregiver or a parent or someone who says, hey, this is what you're predispositioned to, so make sure that you drink plenty of water, get plenty of rest, and work out, that you set goals for yourself, and you have a job that you really, really love that is in an environment that is going to be healthy and not toxic. And given that they follow those parameters and life allows it, right? Because sometimes we set ourselves up for success and then we have to kind of dodge and weave some things within, life's surprises that it sends us. So what happens is your environment, you can, for the most part, control it. Your genetic disposition, however, you can't. So it's kind of like when you buy a car. Your car needs to be washed and maintenance. Your body too. I feel as though that we all appreciate a good metaphor every now and again, especially with something so intricate as nature versus nurture, because it is just such a tricky thing for all of us to wrap our mind around, because there's contrasting elements. What naturally was and or could be or is versus the triggering or the spiraling or event oriented effect that makes it to where it has a domino effect. The hippocampus, sensitivity, and social context. Let's talk about that. Let's go ahead and look at how some brains are more tuned to environmental stress. And for example, depression and anxiety are genetically influenced, but not environment influenced, but are environmentally amplified. Youth with larger hippocampal volumes showed more depressive symptoms in difficult environments, as from Northwestern University study. Anxiety and depression share genetic roots, but diverge based on environment. Common genetic determinants with differing environmental triggers. So something that can trigger or be event oriented. I like to use the wording event oriented. Triggered have been really overused and a lot in the wrong context. A trigger is an event or a time or a space in which an event has happened that makes something pop off, yo. However, a flashback. Let's go back to PTSD real quickly. Let's rewind and freeze. Flashbacks are what people are usually talking about when they say triggered. You can't fire off a firework that has already been fired off. You can remember its bang, and you can be event-oriented flashbacks around it. But triggered means that is a point of impact. That means the car crashed. That means the firework went off. That was the kaboom, the kabang. That's what did it. A triggering of unfortunate events after that. But what you might be referencing to in pop culture, pop psych, would be more or less flashbacks, remembrance, uncontrolled reminiscence of a event around a trauma or something that was harm oriented that your brain processed in a negative way. That being said, I'm going to hit play again on my forward thinking. Anxiety and depression share genetic roots but diverge based on environment. Common genetic determinants, that word, me and that word, what is going on? With differing environmental triggers or events that set off, right? So if we have a case study of Jan, making fun of Jan, and she feels very emotionally insecure about that, and it harms her, and she has a perceived danger from that, it can create a loop of anxiety about, well, what if they do it again? Or depression of, why did they do that? Of holding her back in her past. And it could very well shut her down from wanting to have a lot of friends or from having those flashbacks or recurring memories. It can very well cause her to display PTSD-like symptoms. If we're talking about children, we want to be very, very careful in the realm under 18 of diagnosing or putting labels. That's something that you want to refer to a very specialized psychiatric professional who works in diagnosis. Like, you need a psychologist who is going to be like the mad scientist of your brain, because labels can harm people. Labels can sometimes be wrong. And sometimes, and I'm not saying all the time, this is not a blanket, like all the time, oh my God, conspiracy theories. I'm saying sometimes. Sometimes certain psychiatric conditions, such as PTSD, can present as another. In the DSM-5, they updated the diagnostic manual back in 2013, May of 2013. PTSD was once under anxiety. It was listed in the same category. However, they took it and put it under its own category. Its own category now is a stress-related disorder, whereas it used to be an anxiety-related disorder. What happened over time was they realized, well, anxiety is more fretful of what could happen. That is more of a fantastical ideology of the future that is not grounded in reality. It didn't actually happen yet. It hasn't come to pass. Whereas with PTSD, you have experienced a trauma. You have experienced something that you genuinely are reliving in your brain. It did happen. you are validated in the fact that you lived that trauma. And when you relive it, it's not anxiety. It's not being worried about something that's never going to happen. It did happen, and you are valid in the way that you feel. So for anyone to ever, it can present itself, yes, in a way that it masks almost um, in an anxious type of a way, if you don't understand the difference between PTSD and anxiety. When you look at the clear cut difference in the Diagnostic Statistical Manual 5 that was updated, it very clearly states that you have been through something versus you're afraid of irrational, ideologic, conspiracy theory, things that are not grounded. They're not logical. They're not tangible or real. So essentially, anxiety is a fearful thought process that is being created in a world in your mind that does not exist yet. Whereas PTSD, if you rewind and freeze, it happened, and you are valid for having fears. You are valid for having sadness, grief, from having remembrance, for if there's, night terrors or sleep disturbances or things that shock your body back into that reality that happened. It happened. And no one can ever discount them or make you feel less than because of that. So the professionals who rewrote the DSM were like, hey, this is stress. And when stress hits the body certain ways, you have a physiological response. Fight, flight, freeze. Um, that being said, anxiety feels so real. When you're experiencing anxiety, it feels extremely, extremely real to those who are experiencing it, and should never be discounted either. Because your mind is so powerful. It's convincing your body that something is happening or real that isn't. You can ground yourself and you can look around the room and list 5 things, or um, some people, you can have a rubber band to pop on your wrist like this. It depends on the level of anxiety. You can also have fidgets, so keep a pin on you. Like, nobody will know the difference if you want discretion. Nobody will know the difference if you have a pin. I have a pin. You can sit there and just click on it. It's annoying probably for those of you who do not like that stimulus, and that's understandable. You can also have, and let me get out of my, see if I can reach it here in my bag. I can't, but I have Play Sarah Putty is what it's called, and it's scented. One of my favorite things. Um, and it's helped me with my recovery from my surgery, and aiding in the process of my recovery of my surgery work. Depression can activate in individuals who feel a sense of not belonging, hopelessness, emptiness, or a sense of um, lack of goals, or what am I here for? Those kinds of thoughts. And the best way to help your body to kind of reset those kinds of feelings or thoughts, go for a walk, drink your water, get moving, and see the world around you. You are worth so much. And the world is a better place because you're in it. This world is so beautiful and so vast. The one thing that I hope that you all take away from this episode, if nothing else, the anxiety, the depression, the PTSD, whatever it is, it will get better. It may not always be the best. There's ebb and flow. But the world around you, just know it's a better place because you're in it. And there are so many people who care about you and want to see you win. I want to see you win. I want to see you have quality of life. And even though there are days where you might be in it, I want to see you win and succeed and look back on the waves that came crashing down and you go, I did that. I survived that. That's me. Because it takes so much strength to be you. It takes so much courage to be you. And it to walk outside to be you. It is incredible. And I am so proud as your fellow human being to see just how incredible that you are to be here with me right now. Every single one of you matter. I care. And the whole point of this podcast is to put that positive energy out there into the world. I just remember from my military experience that there was a very close individual that came into work one day, when I came into work one day, that was battling. You could just see it on him. And sent them a text, and I was like, hey, I see it on you. I see you and I see it on you, and just know that you're not alone. Sometimes these conditions, when activated, can be so heavy and they can really take their toll. You do what you need to do to live quality life. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You're not broken for responding to environmental elements and your body trying to protect you from danger. Ultimately, that's what all three of those conditions are doing. PTSD is the hypervigilance that hits your empathetic system. Empathy, that gut feeling that somebody's standing behind me. You know that thing. So we've all had that gut feeling when we turned around and someone was standing behind you and they're like, boo. And you're like, oh my God, don't do that to me. Bruh, you don't know the streets I grew up in. Ooh, don't do that. We don't do that here. That's PTSD for you. It keeps you with the hairs on the back of your neck standing up. And it keeps fit because let's go into evolution. Evolutionary hunters and gatherers, we needed that empathetic ability to sense things around us for danger and for safety. So that when you go out to hunt, you don't become the hunted, and if you are, you're staying a step ahead. The fight and the flight, your body's literally saying, yo homie, I'm trying to stay alive. Freeze, because there's some animals that it is actually way better for you to just curl up in a ball and not be fun to play with. Nature, it loads the dishwasher. Nurture presses a start on that cycle. Or doesn't. Reflect on your environment and what resiliency factors that you have that are preemptive at keeping you safe from the things around you that could possibly be triggering, aka protect your peace, or the things that are already triggering events, or something that was event oriented that makes a recurrence happen. All right, my little teapot. If this stirs something in your spirit or your synopsis, go ahead and check out the rest of my podcast episodes wherever you listen on YouTube, Instagram, or Patreon. Click like and subscribe. Um, Also, I've got coaching spots open. The link is on my Instagram. Editing, the mad editing that I need to do of this video. Like there's no like, I'm just gonna post it. Well, my little fur child in the background has been so distracting. And I'm over here like, my girl. So, if you need coaching in neuroscience, cognitive behavioral therapy, or positive psychology, I'm your girl. Hi, I got you. I'm here to help. I'll give you 15 minutes of my time and let you know if I'm the right person for you. I would absolutely love to make a positive impact on your life. Um, that being said, yeah, that's it. Thank you for tuning in today with me, and I'll catch y'all next time. Until next time. Peace.